Imagine living in a world where violence, greed, and corruption had become a normal part of everyday life. People no longer cared about kindness or justice. Instead, they chased power, wealth, and selfish desires. According to the Bible, humanity had drifted far away from God. But among millions of people, there was one man who chose a different path. His name was Noah. Noah was known as a righteous man who trusted God even when everyone around him ignored his ways. While others laughed at faith and goodness, Noah remained faithful and lived with integrity alongside his family. The Bible says that God looked at the earth and saw that it had become filled with violence and wickedness. Human hearts were consumed by evil, and the world was no longer the peaceful creation God had intended. God decided to bring a great flood that would cover the earth and bring an end to that generation. But he also chose to preserve life through one faithful man, Noah. One day, God spoke to Noah with an extraordinary command: build a great ark. This would not be an ordinary boat. It would be a massive wooden vessel, large enough to protect Noah's family and representatives of every kind of land animal during the coming flood. Noah had never seen anything like the disaster God described. There was no sign that such a flood was about to happen. Yet Noah believed. Day after day, he gathered wood, shaped enormous beams, and began constructing the ark exactly as God instructed. His family worked beside him, helping with the enormous task. People passing by couldn't understand what Noah was doing. Many laughed. Some mocked him. Others thought he had lost his mind. "Why are you building such a giant ship?" they asked. "There is no flood. There is no danger." But Noah continued working. He did not build the ark because he understood everything. He built it because he trusted God. Years passed. The giant ark slowly took shape. Its towering walls stood high above the ground, becoming impossible to ignore. Still, most people refused to believe that anything would happen. As the final pieces were completed, Noah stood before the enormous ark, knowing that history was about to change forever. He had no idea exactly when the flood would come, but he knew one thing with certainty: God always keeps his promises. The massive ark now stood complete. Its enormous wooden walls stretched high into the sky, unlike anything the world had ever seen. People gathered around it every day, laughing, pointing, and mocking Noah. "Where is this flood you keep talking about? You're wasting your life." But Noah never answered with anger. He simply continued trusting God. Then one day, everything changed. God spoke to Noah once again. The time has come. Noah gathered his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. Together, the 8 members of Noah's family prepared to enter the ark. Then something incredible happened. Animals began arriving from every direction. 2 by 2, lions walked beside deer. Elephants marched across the land. Birds filled the skies. Small insects, giant animals, wild creatures, and gentle animals all came peacefully toward the ark. Noah didn't have to search for them. According to the Bible, God brought them. The people watching were amazed. They had never seen anything like it. Yet instead of believing, many continued laughing. One by one, every animal entered the ark. Food was stored. Water was prepared. Everything was ready. Then Noah and his family stepped inside. The enormous door slowly closed. According to the Bible, God himself shut the door. Outside, life continued as usual. Children played, merchants sold their goods, families celebrated. No one believed that judgment was only moments away. Then, dark clouds covered the sky. A cold wind began to blow. Thunder echoed across the land. For the first time, rain began to fall. At first, people ignored it. "It's only rain," they said. But the rain didn't stop. It became heavier. then heavier still. Soon rivers overflowed. Streams became raging torrents. Water rushed through streets and fields. The Bible says that rain poured for 40 days and 40 nights, while waters burst forth across the earth. The ark slowly lifted from the ground. The greatest flood in human history had begun. Rain continued to fall without stopping, day after day, night after night. The sky remained dark, and powerful storms covered the earth. The floodwaters rose higher and higher until rivers disappeared, valleys vanished, and entire cities were hidden beneath the water. Even the tallest mountains could no longer be seen. Inside the ark, Noah and his family could hear the roar of the wind and the crashing waves. The giant wooden vessel rocked back and forth, but it remained safe because it had been built exactly as God had instructed. Around them were hundreds of animals, large and small, wild and gentle. Noah's family worked every day, feeding them, caring for them, and keeping the ark in order. Outside, the world had completely changed. There was no land in sight, only water, endless water. For 40 days and 40 nights, rain poured from the heavens. After the rain stopped, the floodwaters still covered the earth for many months. The ark drifted across the waters, carried only by the wind and the current. Then, according to the Bible, God remembered Noah. A strong wind blew across the earth, and little by little, the waters began to recede. Weeks passed, then months. One day, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. But Noah waited. He did not rush outside. Instead, he trusted God's timing. After many days, Noah opened a window and released a raven. The bird flew back and forth because there was still no place to settle. Later, Noah sent out a dove. The dove returned because it could not find dry land. A week later, Noah released the dove again. This time, it returned with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Noah smiled. The tiny leaf was a sign of hope. The earth was becoming alive again. After another 7 days, Noah released the dove one last time. This time, it never came back. Dry land had finally appeared. For the first time in many months, Noah looked out over a renewed world. The flood was over. A new beginning was about to begin. At last, the day had arrived. After more than a year inside the ark, God spoke to Noah. "Come out of the ark, you, your family, and every living creature with you." Slowly, the massive wooden door opened. Fresh air rushed inside. Sunlight filled the ark for the first time in many months. One by one, the animals stepped onto dry ground. Birds soared into the sky. Horses ran across the open fields. Elephants, lions, deer, and countless other creatures spread across the earth, beginning life once again. Noah and his family stood in silence, overwhelmed with gratitude. Everything they had known before the flood was gone, but a new world lay before them. The first thing Noah did was not build a house or search for food. Instead, he built an altar to thank God. The Bible says God was pleased with Noah's faithfulness and made a covenant, a special promise, with him and with every living creature on earth. God said that never again would a flood destroy all life on the earth. Then God placed a beautiful sign in the sky, a rainbow. Whenever people see a rainbow after the rain, Christians believe it is a reminder of God's promise, his covenant of mercy, faithfulness, and hope. God also told Noah and his family to fill the earth once again and begin a new chapter for humanity. The story of Noah's Ark is more than a story about a flood. It is a story about faith when others doubt, obedience when the future is uncertain, hope in the middle of life's greatest storms, and the belief that even after judgment, God offers a new beginning. For thousands of years, Noah's Ark has remained one of the most well-known stories in the Bible, inspiring millions of people around the world. Whether viewed as history, faith, or a lesson in perseverance, its message continues to remind us that trust, courage, and hope can carry us through even the darkest times. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this Bible documentary, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring